Hey, thanks again for pressing play and welcome once again to another edition of the Suns Jam Session Podcast, the original post-game podcast on Planet Orange, shooting the shit about the Suns since 2019. I'm one of your hosts. My name is John Voida, managing editor, Bright Side of the Sun. And I'm not going to be joined by Matthew just yet. Matthew is actually covering the game. He's down at Footprint Center right now. He'll join us a little bit later after he's done interviewing some of the players and just covering the overall for Bright Side of the Sun. Instead, I'm welcoming the man who is no longer a free agent in the podcasting world, fallen founder, co-host of Suns Planet Podcast.
Who am I? Why am I here?
Because you're podcasting royalty now. Nobody can try to recruit you. The Suns Planet successfully recruited you. For those of you who don't know, Suns Planet Podcast goes live every Saturday, 8 a.m. Arizona time on their YouTube channel. And then shortly thereafter, you're going to get that audio. How's it going? What's it like to finally have a home, Jake?
Well, I didn't know if they would accept my max contract terms. And then, of course, when I made them swallow the whole no-trade contract in honor of Bradley Beal, I thought there's definitely no way they were going to do it. But, hey, desperate times call for desperate measures. And, they brought me back from Hong Kong. So I'm excited to have a team and go Suns Planet. But I always like to think that there's going to be maybe a little home for me, an overnight stay on Suns Jam on occasion.
Yeah, we like to have you over. It's like a bed and breakfast. We invite you over. We cook, a nice little, some eggs and your choice of breakfast meat, your choice of breakfast toast. Hash browns are mandatory. But then we send you back on your way back to your little Suns Planet so you can join both Sunderous Dunks and Sir Hamo to talk everything Phoenix Suns on Saturday morning. So it's great to have you on the podcast. We appreciate you stepping in. Tell me a little bit about the Saints shirt that you're wearing today.
Oh, well, I'm not Matthew Lissy. I actually like America's team, and that's the New Orleans Saints. It's not the Dallas Cowboys. I hate to tell you, ever since Katrina, we have been recognized officially as America's team. I think that if anything, it says that I'm a glutton for punishment because of my two favorite professional sports franchises, the New Orleans Saints and the Phoenix Suns. We've won one championship and the entire history of both franchises. But I do have to tell you, Suns fans, when you win that first one,
tell me more.
It's an amazing feeling.
You want to talk about a glutton for punishment? I'm an Arizona Cardinals fan. I've won 0 championships my entire life in 2 of my 3 favorite sports. And my third sport, I'm a Dodgers fan. So life sucks right now. We do this every year. We peak in August. Everyone's like, "Ooh, the Dodgers, they're playing great." I'm like, "Yeah, wait till October when they fall apart every fucking year." So, glutton for and then I'm a Notre Dame fan too. So I can really pick them. So
at least you have a history though with a couple of those franchises.
Yeah, there's history like pre-fetus history with these. Rumor has it back in the 40s, Notre Dame was quite the powerhouse. See, it's just.
I saw the movie Rudy.
I did too, and apparently it's all fake.
I know, it broke my heart.
and it's all pre my fetal time. So that's just the way it goes. But you know what? The Phoenix Suns and what we have this season is definitely something special. And obviously, we're here talking post-game podcast, playing those Denver Nuggets, the team that eliminated us from the Western Conference second round this last offseason. And now it's a preseason game. So it doesn't count, but it's okay. We're still here on the post-game pod to talk about everything that we saw on this game, the highs, the lows, what Frank Vogel's doing with this second team unit, Nikola Jokic, how fat does he look? Because you got to remember, this is their first game back, they being the Denver Nuggets. So we're going to get into all of that. But first, a reminder to everybody who's watching along live or later, hit that thumbs up on the YouTube channel, hit subscribe, and make sure that you hit that bell notification, which notifies you when we go live, which is after every single motherfucking Phoenix Suns game. Shit, we were doing Summer League post-game podcast. God help us all. Make sure if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, you leave a 5-star rating and then write a review. We'll read it right here on the podcast. And, of course, if you're on Spotify or any other podcasting platform, that you give us a 5-star review, or don't. I don't give a shit. Jake, tell everyone where they can follow you and follow the podcast that you now call home.
Well, you can follow me at Fallen Founder, and you can also find me on Saturday mornings anywhere in the world, Suns Planet Pod, with co-hosts from California and Australia. And who knows? We might even have some other people from some other countries stopping by soon. It's all in the works. We're trying to build a larger Phoenix Suns nation, a greater valley.
Planet, I would say.
Yeah, it could be a planet, the bright side of the planet.
You're stealing our name, and I kind of like it. It kind of
No,
works.
but our podcast is for sale for Brightside if they're interested in buying.
They got out of the podcast business. I don't know if you know that, but SB Nation's like, yeah, podcasts aren't profitable. So the $20 they were giving me every month no longer exists. So, oh well, that's why my podcast is sponsored by Fansided, which is Valley of the Suns. Don't tell SB Nation that. So Jamsters, do you guys have a nickname yet for everyone who listens to you guys? Like, we're the Jamsters, you're the Planetariums, Planetarium, leave me be.
I was thinking Planeteers. What is it like? Earth, wind, fire, heart, and it's always that one guy at the end. Heart. And
Heart.
It's like that's not a thing. That's not like the others at all.
That's not an element, sir. Yeah. It's a
just
feeling.
Like preseason basketball is not like the others. It's
well, we're gonna talk about that. Pop 'em if you got. You drinking with me tonight?
Oh yeah.
Good. I got a natural ice, as you can see right here. It looks like, oh, you got a natty ice too.
Well,
Don't tell the audio listeners.
Yes,
Pop them if you got them, Suns fans.
Ooh,
yeah. Let's talk about something that will never technically exist. Preseason basketball. Matthew will be joining us momentarily from downtown Phoenix, where he is at the game covering the Phoenix Suns versus the Denver Nuggets on behalf of Brightside. The Suns lose 115-107 to the Denver Nuggets, a repeat of last time we played them in Game 6. Denver walks out of here with a victory, although this one doesn't count. But it brings me to my first question, which technically is for Matthew, but since Jake is here, it's going to be for Jake.
Oi, Matty. Mate. I've got to ask.
Shout out to Boyd from the Aussies Suns Fans podcast for making us that little drop, if you will, at least the audio version of it. So the question I have for you, Jake, obviously a little bit of that disappointment, if you will. The Phoenix Suns decide to start Saban Lee, Grayson Allen, Josh Okogie, Chimezie Metu, and Yusuf Nurkic tonight, rather than giving us the guys I like to call the thrilling three in Bradley Beal, Devin Booker, and Kevin Durant. So when you hear that news, what are your thoughts in preseason game number 2 of the thrilling three not suiting up tonight?
Well, clearly Frank's throwing in the towel. I mean, if you're not even going to try anymore, I mean, what's it all for? Are we out here to win titles, or are we out here to win titles? Because it doesn't seem like it. And no, it's preseason. I'm shocked. I am shocked that Nuggets starters got a full run in the first half. I mean, what is happening here?
Well, it's their first preseason game.
Well, but they're not supposed to rest in the regular season anymore. Now's the time to rest before you actually have to play.
Yeah,
so I was a little surprised.
I wasn't surprised that the thrilling three didn't play. I mean, the way I look at it, much akin to what you said is now's the time to get some rest in. We saw a good showing in the first preseason game, and it doesn't count until October 24th, which is in 2 weeks. So personally, I think that Frank Vogel, the astute coach that he is going, you know what? I'm going to rest these guys because our next game is on Thursday, and it's in Portland, and we're going to fucking destroy DeAndre Ayton. And that's what that's Vogel's game plan. He's playing fucking 3D checkers. He's not playing chess yet, but it's like 3D checkers, which I think checkers is always in 3D. 4D checkers.
It's just confirmation of something we all knew. Devin Booker hates DA. I mean, he said he shook his hand before he left, but it was really like I'm going to see you real soon. And no. I don't quite know why, but let's be honest. I mean, that first half score, Nuggets were up, but the fact of the matter is we had our 3 best players not playing, and their starters were getting a full run. and they were having trouble running away with the game. It was impressive for the Suns bench.
It was again. I know that not a lot of people are going to look at preseason and draw any permanent conclusions. We'll speculate on some things. We'll see if any chemistry is going to develop, but even that has to be some fool's gold, because how often are you going to see a lineup that includes Saban Lee, Grayson Allen, Josh Okogie, Chimezie Metu, and Yusuf Nurkic during the regular season? Like, I guarantee you, if you were to run the minutes at the end of the season, and I might bookmark this, how many minutes we saw that specific lineup, because you can look that kind of stuff up on the old NBA.com. I bet you it's 0 minutes. So there's not a lot to really look for when you're looking for chemistry, but the things that you are looking for are just engagement, how the teams how the players are moving on the court. There's 13 new players on this team. So while we've watched a lot of these players from afar and we've experienced them through the eyes of the opposition, now that they're on our team, we're looking for a lot more specific things. We're looking for physicality. We're looking for finesse. We're looking for how do they operate and where do they run to on the court on offense? How are they attacking defenses? Are they drop defenders, or are they jumping a pick and roll? Are their hands up or their hands down? You know, when you're watching your team,
back up. Show me what you're gonna do now.
Say what? Say what?
Hands up, no hands. No,
hands up, and
keep
hands
rolling,
down.
rolling. Somebody help me out here. Help me out, chat.
Well, you a little
that took you a
chocolate,
second. Chat,
chocolate starfish in the hot dog flavored water. I believe that's
there. Okay, see, you got it.
Come on, man, dude.
It just took a second.
Dude,
it's that cold natty ice you got thrown back.
Yeah, it's really just getting me lit. You know, I gotta have faith. Rock gotta have faith. That's $3 bills, y'all. Yeah, I was a Limp Bizkiter back in the day. Okay,
it's changing the music.
Can you not tell? I'm 40 years old and I'm a white kid. Like, Limp Bizkit was my shit.
It was a breakthrough for you. Yeah.
I was like, wow, what's this stuff? It's rather aggressive. What did they do to George Michael's song? I thought that was a beautiful song. Oh, I guess it would be nice if Bobo could touch your body.
Get out of here, Snoop Dogg. We got Limp Bizkit.
Yeah, dude. I ain't got time for you. And then Slim Shady came, and you're like, oh, this is good music.
We were hanging on to Vanilla Ice and Limp way too long.
Well, it was at that time, you know, for you youngins, you don't understand this, but like pop music took over in the late 90s and just ruined music. And all of a sudden you had like just this alternative stuff to it, because pop was the alternative to like the grunge. It was you know, and so it's like you needed something, and yeah, it was like Limp Bizkit and Eminem and God, what else?
This really is true. See, this is what people tune into Suns Jam for. Suns content with just that twist, that lemon twist.
They wanted to know what I thought of the Deftones in 1999, and I thought Incubus was amazing. I mean, holy shit.
Oh,
Incubus, dude. Woo.
Was there not a college party that did not have Incubus playing?
Yes. There was, you know, take a little acid and enjoy some Incubus. So anyways, back on track here. Let's talk about, I'll start with Yusuf Nurkic.
Delicious definition, make them boys go crazy.
Oh. Of course, I start with one that has like a super poppy, shitty song. One thing that I admired about Nurkic, only played the first half. You know, we didn't get a ton of run out of Nurkic. As well, we shouldn't. Only played 16 minutes. Ended with 10 points. He was only 1 of 4 from the field, but he got to the free throw line and was 8 of 8 from there. Had 4 rebounds, had a couple assists, had a steal, but he also bodied up and backed down Nikola Jokic. First possession down the game, bump, go at him. Second possession that he had one-on-one against Nikola Jokic, bump, flop by Jokic. He was trying to set him up. Now, these are former teammates. You got to remember, Yusuf Nurkic drafted by the Denver Nuggets, played his rookie season. His next year, they draft Nikola Jokic. The next season, Nurkic is gone. So they've definitely spent some time around each other, obviously quite some time ago. But just looking at Nurk, seeing how his physicality translates to this team, I hate to go there, but like, would DA ever back down Jokic?
Well, no. No. I mean, NBA 2K DA would. And that's why I loved having him on the team, because I was like, wait, if he can do that in the video games, for sure, we can do that in real life. It would just make so much sense. But no, yeah, and that's of course what's standing out already early in 2 preseason games is Nurkic, I mean, he's got the body type for it. He's a bigger guy than DA. I mean, he's got him by what, 30, 40 pounds. I mean, he can push people around. Now, the problem is going to be a little bit of foul trouble, I think, moving forward. And we've seen that in the regular season when he actually plays a lot of games, is that he can get into foul trouble, even in, some of the playoff games he's been in the past too. But, one thing's for sure, and this is something that we always hoped DA was going to do more, is if somebody was going to run into the paint, hard fouls are allowed if you're a big guy to kind of, impress upon people that it's not going to be easy to try and get around defenders, because there's a good big man that's going to be closing in on you as you come into the lane. So it's exciting to see, Nurkic take on that role. It's something that we've wanted from DA for a while. I still believe DA is the greater potential player, and I think he's got a lot more tools in the tool belt. But Nurkic is doing the things that this team is going to need, and it looks like he's going to be doing them well.
Yeah, very, very well said, and I completely agree with that. Talent-wise, DA easily has him, but when you talk about the physicality versus the finesse, Nurkic is going to bring some physicality that's going to need from this team, because Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, Bradley Beal, those aren't physical players. Those are finesse scoring players. So you're going to need, between Nurk and Okogie, you're going to need some physicality and some versatility on the interior. And I think that, if you have Okogie at the point of attack guarding the opposing point guard or primary playmaker, and Nurkic behind him on the defensive end, that's going to set a precedent to some teams. And I also think that on the offensive end, if we have somebody who can do this, can body up somebody like a Jokic and put him in a situation where he could potentially get into foul trouble, I think that's valuable. That's one thing. Again, DA, due to his finesse play around the basket, wasn't trying to go through people. He was trying to go around them. And that was a frustration that we would have as Suns fans. It's like, dude, just fucking go over, through, and dominate
let's
that
be
guy.
honest. I mean, DA, he had a very silky smooth looking jumper, especially at the end. A little early on in his career might have made us a little nervous when he'd shoot, but the fadeaway jumpers from the low post was like, man, are you 190 pounds? Like, are you like, you're shooting like I would shoot? Yeah, exactly. No, it was that bad. Like, it was just, and it would happen so to the point where other teams finally realized switch and put the smaller defender on DA, and he would still, I'm going to get a jump shot. And that was the time to drive, draw that foul, and get the power shot in. And, hopefully he figures it out, but just don't figure it out when you're playing us.
Yeah, we'll see on Thursday and then again on Monday. One thing that I did like is, again, due to that physicality, it forced Nikola Jokic to flop. And this is a reminder to NBA fans this season that those flopping type plays that Jokic did and does consistently will be called as technical fouls. The new flopping penalty, per NBA.com, the flopping penalty will be assessed by game officials when they perceive a physical act intended to cause a foul on another player. The offending player will be charged with a non-unsportsmanlike technical foul, which means it will not count towards an ejection, and the opposing team will be awarded one free throw. I'm surprised they didn't call it there, just to kind of test it out a little bit. It would have been really nice if they're like, that's a flop, Nurkic gets a free throw, and that's another thing that you have to kind of be aware of. So it's kind of a good year not to have CP3 on your team because of the fact that they've instituted this. But going back to what you were talking about with the foul trouble that Nurkic will ultimately get into, you're 100% correct that he will provide more physical fouls, and that's a good thing for the Suns. But unfortunately, what goes with that territory is somebody who is going to get called for the ticky-tack fouls, because he, good, bad, or indifferent, he carries with him a reputation as somebody who is going to ultimately be foul happy. If you're getting those fouls, those physical fouls, and we've seen this before, where you have guys who just they're kind of known as foulers. And if you look last season, Nurkic, let's see, scrolling, Control F, Nurk. Oh, not on there. I'm trying to see how many fouls he averaged last year as compared to the rest of the league. I assume it was a lot, but I can't find that number right now. I'm ill prepared. He fouls a lot, right?
He does. I wanted to say it was 4 a game, roughly.
Well, last year the leader who had the most personal fouls per game.
6. Oh, that I don't know.
It was Jaren Jackson, 3.6. So maybe Nurkic didn't qualify due to games played.
Okay.
That's got to be it. But 3.6
'cause
is
he
what
only
led.
two
Yeah,
games.
you're right.
But
52
3.6
games.
fouls in 26.8 minutes a game.
A lot of fouls.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why people like Drew Eubanks are going to be vitally important to this team because, and I'm telling you right now, Suns fans, remember this podcast. I'm going to tell you, we're going to be pissed because Nurkic is foul happy. And it's because of his reputation. He's going to have good fouls, but unfortunately, with some of those good fouls comes some bad fouls called with him. It's just the way it goes, my friend. It's just the way it goes. Josh Okogie.
Hey, Joe. Where you going with that gun of yours?
So Josh Okogie gets the start again tonight. 24 total minutes played. He had 17 points, 3 of 6 from beyond the arc, Jake, which I'm really excited about. 3 assists, 2 steals, 6 rebounds, 7 of 13 from the field. Josh Okogie, I think, is obviously, and tell me your perception, Frank Vogel's fallen in love with him a little bit. I think that, the Suns play a game on Valentine's Day this year, and I think that's when Frank Vogel's going to give his final rose out, and it's going to be to Josh Okogie. I think he loves him.
Oh, if he keeps up this play, then Frank's going to change his name from Josh Okogie to Josh Could You Blow Me? My goodness, did he bring the effort tonight? He's all over the court. Defense, rebounding, assist, hitting threes. Somebody's been in the gym putting some shots in the basket.
Yes.
This is exciting. I'll be honest, I was a Utah guy for the fifth. We've kind of had people say KDB, Utah. I've even seen some people say Allen or Gordon. I'm starting to think J.O. is like, hey, they're giving me the first crack at it, and he's not going to let it go.
Yeah, I think you're 100% correct. And I was in the KBD camp just because I think from my perception, it's like, hey, KBD slots in at the 4, KD slots in at the 3. That way he doesn't have to take on more physical defenders when he's playing defense. But Okogie, what he does on both ends now, like you said, he's clearly been in the gym. He's been working on that three-point stroke. He knows how valuable it is. He knows the opportunity that lies before him. Frank Vogel loves players like Okogie that are just hustle. Call me nonstop being his Twitter handle. He is nonstop. And he's shown now in the first 2 preseason games that he belongs with the starting unit. He's going to give that effort. It's duplicable what he did from last season, carrying over to this season. I think it's absolutely fantastic.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's when we traded Mikal Bridges, there was a lot of concern that our perimeter lockdown defender was gone. And even with Josh Okogie in there. But because of the opening that gave for other Suns players, Josh Okogie has really seized the opportunity. And I think he sees that now as, hey, your job is to hit the open shot. You don't have to create anything else. But, hey, runaway dunks, go get it. Wide open threes, go get it. And otherwise, just harass and upset the other team because we will make you proud knocking down a ton of shots on the other end. So it's going to be great to kind of see him. Like we've seen, glimpses of this type of play. It kind of reminds me of like a Javon Carter a little bit because Mikal was great, but he was kind of all around, could stay the whole game. And not that Josh is like low stamina or anything, but Carter, we would kind of deploy him in hey, there's the point guard. Go make him bring the ball up the entire way and just frustrate him. I feel like that's what Okogie is going to be able to do. He's going to potentially get a lot of starter minutes, but then when it's kind of, clutch time and you're going to throw Okogie on the ball handler a lot, 100%. And he's going to make it really difficult on opposing offenses.
And you talk about the psyche of the opposing team. You have with Booker, with Durant, with Beal, with our thrilling 3, they're going to be hurting you offensively. And then you go back and you just gave up a shot to Bradley Beal, a back-breaking, jumper. And then you go back and you have to then have Okogie on your ass when you're on offense. And it's just one of those things that hurts your feelings. He's going to be a feeling hurter out there on both ends of the floor. Because, again, with the gravity, we saw it when he was playing without Beal last year, but with Kevin Durant and with Book, how wide open he was. Obviously, the 0-for-8 against Dallas is very memorable. And the fact that he's been working on that and through the first 2 games has looked fantastic. It's just, again, it makes you smile. And it's proving that I think Vogel's already made the decision for us on that 5th starter. We were thinking maybe it will be Yuta at times. Maybe it will be KBD. Maybe it will be Okogie based on the matchups. If Frank Vogel goes, yo, it's Okogie, what that tells me is Frank wants to impose his will, not the other way around. That he's willing to go, you know what? I don't care what they're doing. We're the ones who knock.
Mm-hmm.
We're the ones who control the pace versus when like, okay, we're playing a bigger team. Therefore, we're going with. So again, time will tell, and we will see how that plays itself out.
Josh Okogie is the one you send to kill the boogeyman.
100%.
He is our John Wick.
He is. Yeah, don't fuck with his dog, man. I'm telling you. So
no.
Real quick, a shout out to Joel Ramirez, $2 in the super chat. We appreciate that. You're paying for Matthew's AirPods that he'll be using whenever he goes live with us. He is down at the game. Oh, he texted me. What did he say? Oh, that's inappropriate. But he says at Sunders needs to jump on the pod. Good show. Thank you, Joel. We appreciate that. Sir Hamo says, wait till Saturday, brother, as does Sunders. Thanks, Joel. These guys got unlocked, though. Yeah, I'll be popping on their podcast here in a couple weekends. So, Joel, if you need to get your fix and you want like all of us together, pop in there, you know. That's what we'll do. But again, appreciate the support and appreciate a lot of the support and the thumbs ups and the views and all that stuff. Everyone who's watching along live, truly appreciate it. Truly appreciate it. You know, this is what we do. It's Suns, the Suns Jam sessions back for those post game podcasts. It's going to be a fun season. Obviously, you know, this is the season where I've officially have the credentials with SB Nation. So I'm going to be at some games. I'm going to send Matthew to some games just because it's a long drive for me. It's not as long as for you, but still it's a long drive for me. And Matthew lives closer. I'm like, you go to the stadium, go get to know Nikola Jokic. He's sending me videos like him 3 feet from Jokic before the game. I'm like, fucking trip him, dude. Fucking take him out. I did miss a chance to say this. Dom and Nurkic, thoughts? Good nickname?
Dom and Nurkic.
That's pretty good. I saw that on Twitter. Who was it? That was Suns Forever at Phoenix Suns Champs 23. Put Dom and Nurkic, and I was just like, that's pretty funny, man.
He's changing the narrative.
The narrative's been changed, dude. He's now
the narrative's
white.
changed.
He's
exactly.
now white, and he's
there's a huge narrative change. It's a whole new book.
60 pounds heavier. It's like, whoa, he really took this seriously, man. So, a couple other things from this game. I really liked what I saw from Drew Eubanks again. Mishandling the ball here and there, but one thing that I've noticed, and I think K-Ray called it out on the broadcast, he's the master of the back tap. And it's nice to have a back tapping guy. If he's not going to get you the rebound, he's going to keep the opportunity alive for the rebound. And that's going to be valuable, especially surrounded by the shooters that this team has. Him having the ability to tap it out, and if it goes right into like Yuta's hand, I mean, that's 3 all day, baby.
Right. It reminds me a little bit of the Lopez brothers. We had, of course, a lot of experience with Robin Lopez here in Phoenix.
Robin.
Brooke, of course. Not elite not elite rebounders. They're little, stiff, big men, but they're pretty good at tapping it back out to where it needs to go. And so that's certainly a role that Eubanks can play for the Suns. And yeah, he's going to bring that energy, I think, as well. He was a little, I think, trigger happy at first. I mean, he wasn't taking a lot of shots, but he kind of really wanted the ball in his hands. It looked like a little bit more than he's ever probably going to see it in real games. But
yes,
hey, it's kind of important to see what they can do.
I just like to see his physicality and knowing that he's going to be backing up Nurkic. God, I got to get this guy's name right, man. My alliteration is killing me tonight. But I really think that he's a solid addition. Another guy who's I'm kind of wait to see if he's a solid addition or not. And I talked about this a lot on the last podcast about he's just trying to get his feet wet is Bates-Diop.
You're down with KBD.
Yeah, you know me.
You're down with KBD.
Yeah, you know me.
Who's down with KBD?
Every last lady.
4 for 10 from the field in this one. Now, he started 0 for 4, and then went 4 for 6 the back end of the game. 1 of 4 from beyond the arc. 5 rebounds, couple assists, a block, a negative 10 overall, 9 total points for KBD. You've seen him through 2 games now, Jake. Like, what's your first impression of KBD?
Yeah, role player. And maybe that's a fine thing. We don't need him to be better than a Durant or Beal or Booker, obviously. But I mean, Is he going to be that fifth starter? I don't see it anymore. Six man off the bench, I don't see it. But, an eighth, man, like, he could be getting 10, 15 minutes, and it's going to be solid, I think. And I don't think he'll disappoint us a lot in key minutes. But I think the hope that he was kind of going to bring a bigger, stronger power forward type role to the team. Maybe it'll happen in certain moments. It's not something I think we should expect from him as of yet. And again, 2 games in, training camp just got going. This can change next week, but that's the early analysis.
Yeah, I agree with almost everything you said there, Jake. I mean, it's going to take time with him. He's somebody who I was very excited about, and now I'm getting less excited. But knowing that his talent does exist on the back end of this, if he's your 8th or 9th guy, like, I'm okay with that. From a talent standpoint, it's definitely there. I just think that he's thinking too hard. And it's one of the things that you have to think about for a lot of these guys coming in. Like, Yuta knows Kevin Durant, and he's just a straight up shooter, right? And that's primarily his role. And with players like KBD coming in, Nasir Little, they're around these superstars every day, and they're trying to prove themselves. And obviously, this is a chance to do so in the preseason and just get some reps in, get some understanding. And every time you look over, you got the thrilling 3 just sitting there looking at you, and you're like, okay, this is a little nerve-wracking. I hope I don't fuck up in front of our big brothers, because I saw how Devin Booker used to yell at DeAndre Ayton all the time, and I don't want him yelling at me.
No, exactly. So I could totally see that being the case. I mean, you mentioned Nasir Little, so I'll just bring him up quickly. But somebody that I didn't know much about him in Portland, because I think, like most of America, I was not watching the Portland Trail Blazers.
Yeah, me neither.
Right. But you'd catch a Dame highlight on the top 20 or something. That'd be it. You would not see Nasir Little, and he's somebody that I think is, he's not shown much yet. But again, it's a little bit, in preseason. It could be a deal where next game, coach will say, okay, we'll give you 28, 30 minutes. Go show me what you can do. So as we continue to say, Suns fans, you got to take it with a bit of a grain of salt, because they just showed up. And they're just trying to figure out, okay, so what do you want me to do? What's my goal here? And they'll figure it out. KBD, I think, is a smart player. Comes from the the Popovich system, so got to give him a little bit a chance to kind of figure things out. But you're right. I could see there's going to be some nervousness playing with 3 greats, and it's like, okay, I can't be the one that messes up, because they're going to be looking at me.
Yeah, 100%. And again, time will tell. The talent, as we've both stated, it's there. So just give him a chance, Suns fans. I'm really rooting for KBD. He's one of the guys who I just think he checks a lot of basketball intangibles, all those boxes. And in talking with people out of San Antonio's camp, they said that not great, not elite at one thing, but does all the little things right. A lot of, in the right places, in the right spots. And that's what I haven't seen from him yet. So I think that's why I'm a little critical on him, because I expect him to, be like Yuta Watanabe, who's been in the right spots, right? Whereas KB he just hasn't, but we just got to give him time. I do want to talk a little bit about Grayson Allen.
Oh, Grayson Allen, our fuck shit up guy.
One thing I will say about Grayson Allen, I don't think that Point Allen should be a thing this year. He did have a lot of playmaking duties in this game, considering that he was the starting shooting guard behind Saban Lee. Saban Lee was the starting point guard. Shooting guard was Grayson Allen. He had 7 assists in this game, but he had 5 turnovers, and he kept doing like the same move over and over again that led to turnovers. Are you looking forward to some Point Allen? And what are your overall take on Grayson Allen thus far through 2 games?
Yeah, no, I'm not huge on the idea of Grayson Allen. Huge on Grayson Allen. Point Grayson Allen. Yeah, Point Allen.
You leave Gallon alone.
Right. Gallon's fine. But I think he was kind of displaying some leadership quality, I think, on the floor. I saw him kind of directing traffic fairly well, and maybe that just comes from being a little bit more of a veteran player out there. So I could see it in moments of games, but I mean, obviously, he's not going to be a starter, and with 5 minutes left on the clock in a game, they're not going to have him playing point either. I mean, it's going to be Booker, Beal, somebody else is going to have the ball at that point. But I mean, in moments, and if we have a guy out due to like need some rest or maybe an injury, it could work for a little bit. But you're right, it's not his go-to move. In terms of kind of overall analysis so far from Grayson, again, not much time in the Valley, but he just has that face, man. He just has that face that screams, "My dad's a lawyer," and you kind of want to punch him, but you're going to get in trouble if you do it. So he's really going to egg some people on, and it's nice that we can have somebody that's going to get under somebody's skin, because he's going to be like, "What? Touch me and I'll sue. My dad's a lawyer."
Well,
and he's saying that under his breath.
You remember that growing up, there was always that one kid who, anytime you did anything to him, he'd tell you he was going to sue you.
Yes.
Remember, that was the thing. Like, I don't know if that happens with the young kids these days, but like that was, and it used to scare the shit out of you.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I remember I had a friend in like 7th grade, and I caught him telling a lie, and I'm like, dude, I'm gonna tell the teacher, man, you lied on that project. He's like, you do it, man, and I'll sue. My dad's a lawyer, and I'll sue you. And I'm sitting there like, I don't want to be sued. I don't have the money. And like, it was a legitimate threat growing up, And
Right?
Grayson Allen was that kid.
Mm-hmm.
His dad.
No, it's there was a absolutely horrible movie that I, of course, love, because I'm one of those people, called Suburban Commando, starring the one and only Hulk
sounds
Hogan.
Familiar. I remember Suburban. I saw it in the theater.
Right? No.
Yeah, Hulk Hogan was in the movie.
Yes, Hulk Hogan and Christopher Lloyd, for all of you Back to the Future fans. And so it's some interesting people in there. But there's a classic scene where there's like the neighborhood bullies are like working on their cars out front. And Hulk Hogan's going to go stick up for Christopher Lloyd, and he goes over there and he's like, "Let me guess, you guys are going to try and beat me up and like tear me apart and run me ragged." And they're like, "What? This is the '90s. We're going to sue you. Loss of work, man hours. Oh, that's getting them. Like mental anguish. Ooh, that's giving it to him." And yeah, that is 100% Grayson Allen. Like he's going to take a charge. He's going to hit you hard, and you're going to want to retaliate. And he's just going to sit there and be like, "My guys just hit a 3 while you were getting mad at me."
Yeah, and that's the mental edge that you need, and that's something that he's going to bring. And he brings, sneaky athleticism. I think we saw that again tonight. And he brings with him physicality, the ability to go through guys, around guys. And I like watching tonight, knowing, like I said, like no Booker, no Beal, no Durant, an opportunity to watch just to see more of these guys. And as I mentioned at the front end of the podcast, just where they end up on the court and how they play. Grayson Allen has been somebody who I've been delighted to see thus far. He attacks. I didn't, obviously, as I mentioned before, I didn't like his playmaking, but what he was doing is he was attacking, and then he was getting caught, and he was trying to pass out, and then that's when a lot of the turnovers happened. But he was attacking, and the Suns overall were attacking, and that's something that Frank Vogel said that he wants to do more is attack and get to the line. The Suns were 21 of 28 from the line. I can't remember how many times we had nearly 30 free throws last season, but I'll tell you what, it wasn't very much. So it's definitely something that, as Suns fans, we can look forward to this year. The Phoenix Suns as a team last season were one of the worst teams in the league when it came to shooting free throws. And we talked about it throughout the season. When you get to the playoffs, you have to have the ability to get to the line, because those are free points. That's, in such high intensity games, you need to have the ability to just kind of stop, reset, shoot a free throw, shoot a secondary free throw. But when you were, like for the Phoenix Suns last year, they were 27th in the league in free throw attempts at 21.7. They had 28 tonight. Oh, shit, Matthew's here. Matthew, how you doing? Can you hear me? Do you know that you're on live right now? Matthew, hi. He's gone. He's figuring it out. So Matthew is going to be coming to us live from the Footprint Center. He's trying to figure out the technology there, and I just want to hear a little bit about his night. But thoughts on the Suns penetrating and getting to the line tonight?
Well, we talked about some of the new players trying to figure out a brand new system with brand new head coach with a ton of new faces. And we're kind of, hey, Nasir, KBD, they look a little bit lost trying to find their places out there. Yuta, his job is to just stick around the perimeter and hit threes. Grayson, what some of the basics of basketball, one of the first plays anyone ever learns, pass and cut, drive and pass, drive and shoot. Grayson Allen was doing that, and he was, wasn't doing it super well, but I think it's great for those guys to get through the growing pains.
So like Bull, Matthew came and then was gone instantly, but now he's back.
Now I'm back.
Matthew, how's
Yes.
it going? It looks like you're coming to us
It's
live
good.
from the Footprint Center. What's going on,
I'm here
man? How
live.
was the game?
Oh, it's fantastic. You guys just got done talking about Bobo because that was
No, we
amazing.
we haven't gotten to Bull, but if you want,
Up in the sky! It's a bird! It's a plane! It's
Bull, motherfucker. Bull, motherfucker. Tell me about him, Matthew.
Oh, the pop when he came in, I was like, "Wait, what's going on?" I was like on my phone. Bobo enters, and it's like the pop from Stone Cold Steve Austin or The Rock entering the arena. It was crazy. He was in for a minute. I guess he like tweaked his ankle, came back in, and almost led us to a victory. It was freaking insanity out here.
Yeah, so was everyone in the stadium just getting excited with every block, with every shot? I mean,
Yeah.
I'm
Yes.
somebody who I'm very critical of Bull Ball right now. I still think there's a lot of things that he's not doing well. He's dropping, his hands aren't up, but he is affecting the game. The shot deterrence, he hit a three. He had that one kind of alley-oop-ish kind of lay-in. So tell me what you saw while you were there at the arena.
Well, he changed the energy. I think when the fans come to the game and the big three aren't here, it's still a sellout crowd, which is crazy. They come for Bol. They stick around for Bol. But I think the energy he brought, just like him and Saban Lee. Saban Lee had a better game, kind of, but him and Saban Lee for sure, like, kind of brought that charge in the second half. Bol should have had more touches. They should just let him have it. But yeah, I don't know, dude. It was crazy for a preseason game. The energy that was in this arena, like it's just different.
What did they talk about in the post-game interviews? Any highlights that the players or the coaches were talking about?
I need a tripod. My hand's like hurting. Yeah. So, a lot of talk was defense. A lot of talk was about just the defense getting better. The situations, of course, out on the court with all those guys. It's just random right now. So, being preseason, they're trying to get used to the guys are running out there without the big three. They just focus on that. Okogie was there after the game, and then Saban Lee was as well. They talked about their defense. Offensively, Okogie looked nice. He hit his shots. But defensively, you can just tell that they got to get better in certain situations. But it's hard to tell, right? Because of preseason, these random matchups. I don't know. I don't know what you really take from it.
What do you think of Saban Lee tonight, Jake?
Saban, I think there's some Suns fans that think he's going to be the next great point guard in Phoenix Suns history, and then there's some Suns fans that are like myself. They're like, he's still on a two-way contract, and hey,
Yeah.
if you just look at the box score, hey, he was stuffing the stat sheet tonight, not in a terrible way. I was able to catch a little bit more of the fourth quarter where he did not look quite as confident in his own play.
Yeah, he definitely we were talking about making winning plays. He's somebody who's learning how to make winning plays, and I just don't think he's there yet. And I think that, the way that he tries to take over, and that's what he did at that back end of the game. The game gets close. We're within 3 points. Saban Lee tries to do a little too much in these games, and that ultimately those aren't winning plays. So
that's something you never want to hear. Saban Lee tries to take over.
Yes, that's a fact. So, Matthew, media credential walking around, do they let you just go everywhere?
Yeah, except for the locker room. I don't have access to that. So no dong shots for the Jamsters out there. But yeah, so I'm just kidding. We got to go everywhere but the locker room. Dave went in there. But yeah.
Dave went into the locker room?
Yeah, he was in the locker room.
Wow. So, like, right now, nobody's trying to kick you out of the stadium.
No, you can just hang out. I asked Dave too. He said you can stay till whenever, usually like midnight if you want. You can just hang out. But I'm gonna get out of here like right now. So
this is fantastic. Well, I look forward to talking to you offline about your experience. Obviously, this is your first game covering the Phoenix Suns with a media credential. Tell me just kind of how the experience was. The Suns Jam Session podcast. We have credentials. That's fucking awesome, dude.
Oh, it was cool. I think the best part too about tonight was even meeting John Bloom, him being a fan of our podcast and just knowing who I was, before I said anything. So that was pretty cool. I think that everyone's very friendly. It's a good interaction backstage and free food. So that's the best part. And you get to hang out courtside. You get to do whatever you want. So it's a lot of fun. I'm excited for you to come Monday.
Yeah, I think we're both going Monday. Well, I'm definitely going. I'm hoping that they'll let you come too.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, we'll see.
So.
So, all right.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us, Matthew.
Thanks, Jake.
Take care now. Bye-bye.
See you, Matthew.
See ya.
You guys are going to have to be careful letting the word out that you guys get free food, because I don't know if you've been to a game as a regular fan for a moment, but it's like, oh, $20 for a plate of nachos. So you're going to have some jamsters coming up to you being like, hey, man, love the show. Could you get me a burger when you go back? I don't have the $30 necessary for it right now.
They're like, yo, I need some nachos, dude. So it's like, big fan. I will subscribe. I will rate. I will review. But just give me some fucking nachos.
I will hit you up with a super chat later.
Yes.
Not for the full 30, because, I mean, my God, it's one burger. But, yeah.
Oh, man. Fucking fantastic. Yeah, it's exciting, you know. It's a new season, and what we picked a hell of a season to fucking do this. So I did spend a little time in the subreddit of the Denver Nuggets, and I'm here to report back. The Suns Jam Session subreddit stakeout. So one thing that is abundantly clear is both you and Matthew have way better costumes than I do. I've watched you before. Well, like, here we go. Let's see. Put on the Thor helmet or whatever the hell you have sitting right there. Knew it. It's fucking the Shredder over here, you know?
Those turtles.
Those goddamn turtles. So I'm just going to do these sunglasses the whole time. I don't know. But hanging out on the Nuggets subreddit, obviously I hung out on the subreddit for the Detroit Pistons for our first game. A very much maligned subreddit, right? The Pistons, worst team in the league. I'm surprised there was 4 people in there. Whereas this one, the defending NBA champions, are fucking assholes. So we have somebody says, Phoenix reminds me of work. A lot of meth and very hot. Terrible conditions. I say we take both off the map. That's what they say of the city of Phoenix. That's like one of the opening statements in their subreddit for this game thread. That Phoenix reminds them of work, and there's meth, and it's very hot. Where are they working where there's a lot of meth? I want to get to know this person.
Aurora. Aurora, Colorado.
Aurora, Colorado. Bad things happen there. Grayson Allen is a very good basketball player. Good at what? I'm not sure.
His dad's a lawyer.
Yeah,
one
exactly.
hell of one, I'm told.
I've got this person's name. Their Reddit user is Confused Juror. We're gonna sue. He's gonna get sued. He's definitely getting sued.
My dad knows you.
Dad knows you, and he's gonna sue you. You confused juror, you. The only downside for the Suns is they don't have a good point guard, a good center, or depth.
Well, you can't talk about depth in Denver. Come on. It's non-existent.
Not this year.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Interesting. But I have a feeling that that's going to be something that we see a lot this year, is just especially at the front end. And we already seen it. People questioning the fact that we don't have a great center, of a traditional. Like, I was talking to a coworker today, and he was telling me, you know, he's not a Suns fan. He's here from another state. And we started talking basketball, and the first thing he did, well, you guys don't have a traditional point guard. I'm like, okay, well, who won the championship last year? Denver. Who's their traditional point guard? They have Jamal Murray, who is classified as a point guard, but he's not traditional. Mm-hmm. The year before that, Steph Curry, not traditional. The year before that, Drew Holiday, not traditional. The year before that, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, not traditional. The year before, I mean, you don't need that CP3 traditional point guard to be successful in this league. So it's kind of funny just hearing how everybody's like, well, you have amazing scorers who can all average 25 points a game, but man, no traditional point guard. I don't see it working. We'll see, but
we got to drop it with this traditional point guard. The only reason Bradley Beal was not a quote unquote traditional point guard, at least from our viewpoint, was because he played a lot of his career with John Wall, and
yes.
it was
and
kind
Russell
of like
Westbrook.
It was kind of like if you look at Portland, Dame Lillard played with CJ McCollum. Now CJ has since gone to the Pelicans, where he's playing point guard, but he was the 2 guard in Portland. And so, I mean, to me, it's Bradley's going to be the point guard. He's not going to get you 10 assists a game. He won't have to. But and he's a good scorer, so it's going to be less expected. Similar to a Jamal Murray type player. Like, he doesn't have to lead the team in assists. His job is to get buckets. He can still create, but he's not the number one creator on the team. So, we don't have a traditional one. No, but we have three and a half ish guys that can
we have
play that role.
Playmakers.
Exactly. That
Yusuf
can create.
Nurkic tonight.
Mhm.
The way I tweeted out, like, I wish DA was still here to receive some of the entry passes from Yusuf Nurkic, because his entry passes from the perimeter to cutting players are beautiful. It's something that DA never had when he was here, was clean, beautiful entry passes consistently, even with CP3. So he's another person who understands offense, sees how people, like, kind of like Jokic. Jokic sees a play developing. He knows how it's going to develop, and he's going to get somebody a ball in a place where they can continue the play and ultimately score. So you have, to your point, Jake, like 3.5 quality playmakers on the starting five, and then you have multiple playmakers in Eric Gordon coming off the bench. So again, settle down, Denver. But I got more, and it gets better. Go ahead, please.
Oh no, I was just going to ask, what do you think it is about Denver and Phoenix all of a sudden not being friendly? Not that you have to be friends with any other teams. It's
Suns
really
and four
simple.
guy. It's got to be.
I suppose so.
It's got to be.
I mean, for a team that has never won one, like trashing another team that has, and they finally won one, and trashing another team that has also never won one. I was wondering, is it because all of a sudden we acquired a bunch of talent over the last year, and so we're gearing up to challenge them? Like, to me, like, go after the LA Lakers, go after the Boston Celtics, be like, I hate those guys that always try and win all the time. They're overrated. I think the Lakers are terribly overrated.
I do too.
Being like, they're going to compete for a title. I don't think they should. They were the 7th seed. Yeah.
Austin Reeves is your third best guy. Like, stop.
Exactly.
And,
so
I went on a Lakers podcast and I told them that. They haven't invited me back.
I'll just say this: Denver, we're going to beat you, but that doesn't mean we can't be like frenemies.
Cordial.
Yes. Act like you've been there before, because we're about to be there.
I'd love to be there. And so I can be mean to them. But again, I completely agree with you. And that's the funny thing with Denver. But I think Suns and 4 guy, he fucked it up. You got to think, 2 out of the last 3 years, we have played against the Denver Nuggets in the playoffs. And the first time we did it, we swept them. And as part of that process, one of our fans beat the shit out of one of their fans. He said Suns and 4 in their place. And it was just one of those things where he is the poster child for a Phoenix Suns fan in that market. And that's unfortunate because we got so many worse guys, man. Like, check out Leezus. I'm just telling you, Leezus Media hasn't posted an article in fucking 4 months.
That's the greatest podcast ever.
I know, it's so good. It's every day is Sun's Day or whatever. A couple other things from the subreddit. Just came here to say this: Booker is such a raging douchebag. I get angry just seeing his face. Like, I just got to hop on the internet and tell somebody that. Note to self: Suns bench shoots well from 3, but that's about it. Okay, fuck off. Saban Lee looks like a monster you'd meet in a hedge maze. It's pretty funny. Is it fair to say that the only decent thing to come out of Phoenix is those uniforms? All right. I'm looking forward to a lot of subreddit stakeouts, observations on our new uniforms this year. And the last one, it's classic. It says, quite simply, go fuck yourself, Phoenix Suns fans. The Suns Jam Session subreddit stakeout. Why would you go into a Denver Nugget subreddit and say, go fuck yourself, Phoenix Suns fans? Unless they saw me in there downvoting everything negative about the Suns.
They knew this was going to air shortly after. Absolutely.
I kind of miss the Pinson brothers. They were here obviously during the playoff run against the Nuggets.
Yes,
and the Pinson brothers they used to hop in the chat and like they were assholes but great, like kind of nice,
right?
And I was hoping tonight they would pop in to say something.
We did have Dave King on Suns Planet last Saturday, and I forget his name, but a troll of Dave King's actually showed up and like gave Dave King like flashbacks to Sun Solar Panel. He's like, you found me, and you're here to hate on me again. Oh my, I hate you still. I'm just like, Dave.
Dave used to get so
Don't
heated
let him
at the
get to you.
chat. He used to get so heated at the chat. The easy thing to do is like if the chat just starts getting you going, and the only person who gets me going really in the chat is So Says Jay, because like I know him and I know he's purposely trying to affect me. He is a lawyer, and he will
So Says
sue
Jay
me.
is Grayson Allen's dad. That's the new thing this year.
Oh my god! So Dave
He's
King's
his
is the
daddy.
son's daddy.
Mhm.
I'm apparently
Grayson
the
Allen's
stepdaddy or something. But
Right.
Grayson, but Justin is Grayson Allen's daddy. I love it.
Explains so much.
It makes so much sense. Jam
Mhm.
star time.
Jam star of the game.
It's hard to dish this one out during the preseason, but is there anybody who you saw tonight who you would bestow the honor of the Jam star of the game?
Oh, 100%. And his name rhymes with Okogie. Josh Okogie, Okogie is, again, he brought it as if it was a like critical, I'm not going to say playoff game, but regular season game. He was working his tail off. So, yeah, I'm going to go with Josh Okogie on this one because you know what's amazing, John, is that I thought about this too. When the big three are going to really get going, and I'll throw Nurkic in there too because he's going to have some impressive games, is there's going to be so many teams, Nuggets or whoever, that are going to sit there and they're going to say, okay, we're in this game. We've got a chance to win. We're playing well against Beal, Durant, Booker, Yusuf. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, a Josh Okogie, a Yuta, a KDB is going to drain a three, and they're going to go, who the hell is this guy? They're going to have no idea who this guy is, who's dropping daggers into them just when they thought they played a perfect round of defense. Exactly.
They have no depth.
There's no traditional point guard. Who are these guys that are nailing threes?
Scoring on us. The guy, I mean,
thing.
I agree with you. Josh Okogie is the jam star, but I will give a shout out, an honorary Suns Jam Session Jam star to Chimezie Metu. And shout out to Jay Joyce from He's on Fire to give me a great idea for his drop, so I'm putting that together. But Chimezie Metu, 22 minutes played, 3-7 from the field, 2 of 4 from beyond the arc, had 8 points, 5 rebounds, and those 3-point shots look good. And I think that he's somebody who he's so far looked pretty darn good in the preseason. Chimezie Metu, kind of a bubble player, the backup to the backup when it comes to the 5. I think his versatility and his ability to shoot is going to garner him some quality minutes this year. So I just wanted to give a shout out to Chimezie Metu. Bol, Sir Hamo. I'm still not there yet with Bol.
Sprinkles.
Sprinkles. I have his.
When he hit that three. Bol, the thing with Bol is he is the Pat Burke of this team.
Yes.
When Pat Burke used to get in, that's when 7 seconds or less was running wild on somebody and up 20 points. And even Steve Nash, like all the starters would jump up and cheer when Pat Burke would so much as get a rebound. And they'd be like, who is that guy? He's on our team, Pat Burke. All right, ladies and gentlemen. It's like you put Bol in the game if the crowd starts to go to sleep. If you want people to come back.
Yes, like Matthew said, faster, right?
You put Bol in the game, and then as soon as everyone gets back in the stands, you sit them back down and start playing actual basketball.
Yeah, I agree. And I want to see more from him. You know, like I said briefly when Matthew was on with us, defensively, he drops a lot, and he's relying on his length to be his primary defensive tactic. But players are shooting threes on him because of it. He does deter some shots on the interior, but when he plays down, like, if you're Bol, just always have your fucking hands up, dude. That's terrifying to anybody. And he plays with his hands down. So little things like that. Again, I'm trying to come around on Bol. You know, I'm kind of the anti-Bol guy. I call him Sprinkles. I have a new drop for him I'm working on too. That's really funny when it comes to Sprinkles. And the fact that he has like that kind of meme plays in perfect to my drop. So that'll be coming out when I have some time to make it. Next game, Suns, Trailblazers, Thursday, 7 p.m. DA, did you, like everybody else, see the one good play that DA had in the Portland game today where it's like he blocked a shot and he just stood there and the play was so slow developing that he had an opportunity to come back in transition and to dunk one? Everyone's like, yeah, DA's hustling. I'm like, no, watch the front end of that. DA did what DA always does. Block, stand. All right. Oh, shit. Oh, it just so happens that nobody was covering me. So, but we got DA. We're going to Portland and he's coming down here next Monday. Thoughts on the game against Portland?
It'll be fun to see our old friend Da.
Our
You
old
know,
buddy.
the prince that was promised, he was not in the end. So you know, I wish nothing but the best for Da because I think he's a super likable guy. Frustrating, of course, frustrating for us that he just couldn't quite put it all together for us. Even if he puts it together in Portland, I'm not afraid of Portland. So I say, go forth, young man, and impress upon the NBA world that you are a quality player. But just make sure you always lose to Phoenix.
I think they will abide in that capacity, even in the preseason. So that's it for this edition of the Suns Jam Session podcast. We appreciate everyone who joined us live in the chat or is watching later, listening later. Once again, Jake, tell everyone where they can find you in case they're looking for you and they want to know where to hang out with you.
Well, you can find me at Fallen Founder on X. And if Twitter for the old heads, and also you can find me usually on Saturdays, but this upcoming Saturday you can take a look at Suns Planet Pod, where you can find my co-host, who will also be joined by Greg Esposito of PSX for a little preview of the upcoming season. So get yourself a cup of coffee and come and help us build a whole Suns planet worldwide, and let's grow the whole fandom everywhere we can.
Everybody, help them get access to that boom boom room where Jake is a bartender. I know you're the bouncer, but you were the bartender in Jamsterdam, so always remember that.
100%. You know, I will say this: the best thing about being the bouncer, I did let in Luka Doncic's mom during the last episode. So,
well, as well you should. As well you should. So, on that note, Jamsters, a reminder: follow me at Darth Voida. You can read my writing at brightsideofthesun.com. I was trying to think of a good segue out using a Limp Bizkit lyric, and I just couldn't come up with one. So keep rolling blunts and go home and love your family.